We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Seneca. Let that one sink in for a moment, my friends. We build these stories in our heads, stories about people who didn't value us, didn't care when we gave them everything. And we believe those stories so deeply that we start to think maybe we were the problem. But today, we're breaking that lie wide open. Because this isn't about what they thought when you stayed. It's about how regret is breaking them now that you've let go. This is about their silent storm, not yours. So before we dive in, hit that like button and subscribe if you're ready to step back into your power, if you're ready to see the truth that maybe, just maybe, you were the light they took for granted. Stay with me on this one, because by the end, you'll feel that fire rising again. Hey folks, imagine this for a second. Picture a garden, lush and blooming, every flower cared for, every weed pulled. You gave it water, you gave it sun, you protected it from storms. But the one person who walked through that garden every day, they never even noticed the beauty growing under their feet. They didn't stop to admire the roses. They didn't even glance at the petals falling. They just expected it to always be there. Until one day you stopped tending it. The flowers wilted, the colors faded, and suddenly they're standing there in the silence of what used to be, wondering where the beauty went. That's what happens when you let go, my friends. They don't notice when you're giving. They only feel the void when you're gone. See, they thought you were permanent, like the moon in the sky or the sun in the morning. You'd always show up. They thought your patience meant forever, that your kindness was endless. But here's the truth they never saw coming. Patience is not permission for mistreatment. And your love. That was never a guarantee. It was a gift, a choice. They thought they could test your limits, push your boundaries, take from your cup without ever refilling it. But every cup runs dry eventually, my friends. And when it did, when you finally stopped pouring and started walking, they felt it. Oh, they felt it. Now, let's break the biggest lie they told themselves. The lie that you needed them more than they needed you. They believed you'd stay stuck in that same chapter, waiting, hoping, hurting. But while they were busy ignoring the weight of your love, you were learning how to fly. You were growing wings they never noticed. And when you took off, soaring out of their reach, that's when they realized. The regret didn't come when you left. It came when they looked around and saw that no one else offered the peace you did. That's the gut punch they never saw coming. You know what's funny? They thought you walking away was a bluff, like you were playing some kind of game, waiting for them to call your bluff and pull you back in. But this wasn't a game, folks. This was survival. You weren't playing hard to get. You were getting hard to hurt. That's what they never understood. And now they're sitting in the ruins of what they destroyed with their carelessness, their ego, their silence. And here's the best part. They don't get to rebuild it. That garden, that love, that presence you gave so freely. They had their chance. They didn't care when you let go. But now regret is breaking them. So stay with me, my friends, because we're just getting started. We're about to dive into the 7 deep psychology-backed reasons why they didn't care when you let go. But now regret is tearing them apart. These aren't just theories. These are the hard truths, the emotional shifts they're feeling right now, even if they'll never admit it. And if you've ever been there, if you've ever let go of someone who didn't know your worth, I want you to drop this in the comments. I let go, and they regret it. Say it loud. Say it for you. And if this is already speaking to your soul, hit that like button, subscribe, and stay with me, because this is your time to rise. Write it in the comments right now. I choose me. Number 1. They confused patience for permanence. The worst mistake you can make is thinking someone's patience is weakness. Let that one settle in your bones, my friends. Because patience is a silent strength. but when taken for granted, it becomes the quiet exit they never saw coming. This is where it all begins. They confused your patience for permanence. They mistook your willingness to wait, to understand, to forgive, as something that would always be there. And that's the lie they told themselves, over and over, while you held it all together. Picture this: a bridge, strong and steady, standing through storms, holding up the weight of everyone crossing it. Day after day they walked across it, barely noticing the effort it took to hold steady under the strain. They never once wondered about the cracks forming beneath their feet, never stopped to check if the foundation needed care. Until one day, without warning, the bridge gave out, and they were left standing on the edge, staring at the emptiness, wondering how they never saw it coming. That bridge, my friends, was you. Your patience, your strength, your endurance. They walked on it every day like it was guaranteed, and when you finally collapsed beneath the weight of their neglect, they felt it like an earthquake shaking the ground they thought was solid. Now here's what's running through their mind. Questions they never thought they'd ask. How did I miss it? Were there signs? How did they let go so easily? But you and I know it wasn't easy. It never is. You stayed through the storms, through the doubts, through the late nights where you questioned if loving them was worth the pain. And even when it wasn't easy, you chose to believe in them. You chose to show up, again and again and again. But here's the truth they never wanted to face. Patience has limits. It's not a bottomless well. They thought you'd always wait because you always had. They thought they could pull away, push your buttons, test your loyalty, and you'd still be there. Because you always were. But patience doesn't mean forever. Patience doesn't mean permission. And your love. That was never a contract with no end date. It was a choice renewed every day until the day you realized you were the only one choosing it. And oh, when you let go, that's when the fear crept in. That's when the questions in their mind became louder than the excuses they used to drown you out. What if they're really gone this time? What if I can't replace what I had? What if no one ever loves me like that again? And here's the kicker, they can't. Because love like yours, patience like yours, doesn't show up twice. See, folks, they thought patience was passivity. They mistook your softness for weakness, your endurance for neediness. They thought you needed them more than they needed you. But here's what breaks that lie wide open. You didn't let go because you stopped loving them. You let go because you started loving yourself more. And that's the shift they never saw coming. Because they were too busy believing the bridge would always hold, the flowers would always bloom, the garden would always be green, never realizing the gardener was exhausted. So why is it so hard to walk away when you've been patient for so long? Because that patience becomes part of your identity. You start to believe that if you just hold on a little longer, they'll see your worth. You tell yourself maybe they just need more time, maybe they're going through something. You create stories to explain away the neglect, the half-love, the distance. But the truth, you deserve love that doesn't make you question your place in someone's life. And when you finally stop explaining, stop waiting, stop stretching yourself thin for someone who can't even meet you halfway, that's when the healing starts. That's when their regret begins. Because patience may have kept you there longer than you should have stayed, but it's also what made your absence feel so loud when you finally walked away. And now they sit with the echo of what they took for granted. So, my friends, let's drop this affirmation right here, right now in the comments. Say it for yourself. Show the world. My patience is power, not permanence. Write it, own it, feel it, and stay with me, because we're just getting started. What's coming next? Oh, it's the part where they feel your absence like a mirror they can't escape. Number 2. When you gave everything, they gave barely enough. We accept the love we think we deserve. But what happens when we give the love we wish we'd receive in return? That, my friends, is the trap so many of us fall into. You gave them everything, your time, your heart, your understanding. You bent, stretched, poured from a cup that was running dry, all in the hope that they'd finally see it, feel it, appreciate it. But instead, they gave just enough to keep you there, barely enough. And somehow, that little breadcrumb of effort felt like a feast when your heart was starving. But no more. Today we're breaking that lie apart. Imagine this. You're standing in a desert, parched, lips cracked, sun beating down on your back, and they come to you offering a single drop of water, just one, and you take it like it's salvation. Because when you're starving for love, even the smallest gesture feels like enough. But here's the truth. They knew you were thirsty. They knew you were starving for connection, for honesty, for effort. And they chose to offer you drops when they could have given rivers. That's not love. That's emotional survival. And that's the lie they told themselves. As long as I give something, it'll be enough to keep you here. But let me ask you something, my friends. How long can you survive on scraps before your soul starts to fade? How many times did you tell yourself, next time they'll try harder, next time they'll show up? You made excuses. You filled in the blanks for them. You carried the weight of the relationship on your back while they coasted. And here's the kicker. They got comfortable. Comfortable in your giving, comfortable in your love. Comfortable in knowing you'd keep showing up, even when they barely did. This is what psychologists call reciprocity imbalance, when one person gives and the other just takes. Over time, the giver gets drained, exhausted, questioning their own worth. But the taker? They never notice until the giving stops, and that's what broke them. When you stopped giving, when the well ran dry, they felt the emptiness they created. And now? Now they sit in that space, realizing they contributed barely enough to keep the flame alive, and they let it burn out. But why does it feel so hard to see this when you're in the middle of it? Because when you love someone, you see their potential, not just their patterns. You see the best version of them, the version that shows up sometimes, the version that gives you hope. And that hope? It's a dangerous thing. It convinces you that a drop today could turn into an ocean tomorrow. It keeps you thirsty, waiting, believing. But here's the truth they never wanted you to know. Real love doesn't make you beg for the bare minimum. It doesn't ask you to shrink, to settle, to pour out your soul while getting sips in return. And when you finally saw it, when you finally said enough, that's when the regret started creeping in. That's when they realized the one who gave everything has nothing left to give. Their barely enough isn't enough for you anymore. And the scariest part for them, no one else is willing to give what you did so freely. They're out there now, searching for someone who will offer that kind of unconditional love again, but love like yours. It's not a common thing, it's rare, it's powerful, it's irreplaceable. And here's the thing about regret, it doesn't hit all at once. No, it builds, like waves crashing on a shore, each one a little stronger, a little louder, until they're drowning in it. They scroll through your old texts. They replay your laughter in their mind. They remember the late-night talks, the comfort you gave, the effort you made look effortless. And now, without your giving heart in their life, all they're left with is the hollow echo of barely enough. So let's break another lie here, folks. You were too much. That's what they may have said, that you wanted too much, needed too much, asked for too much. But the truth? You were never too much. They were too little. And they knew it. That's why they fear your silence now. because it means they have to face themselves without your love buffering the truth. And right here, right now, let's stamp this truth into your soul. Drop this in the comments. I gave everything. They gave barely enough. And I am done begging for scraps. Write it. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you know your worth now. And stay with me, my friends, because in the next part, we're going even deeper. We're talking about how your absence became the mirror they never wanted to face. Number 3. Your absence became their mirror. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That quote, my friends, is the perfect storm for what's coming next. Because your absence didn't just create space, it created a mirror, a reflection they've been running from, a reflection that shows them everything they refused to see while you were there, giving, loving, hoping, and now they can't escape it. Let's paint the picture. Imagine someone standing in front of a still lake. When the water is calm, they can see their reflection. But if they throw stones, distractions, excuses, other people, it ripples the surface. The image gets distorted, blurry, easy to ignore. That's what they did with you. Every time you showed them the truth, hey, I need more, I deserve better. This isn't working for me. They threw stones. They told themselves it's fine, they'll stay. They always do. And for a while the ripples worked. They didn't have to face the real image staring back. But then you left, and the surface stilled. Now the water is clear, and they are face to face with the person they've been avoiding all along. That's the power of absence. It strips away the noise, it silences the distractions. And suddenly, they're sitting alone with their reflection, the reflection of their own lack, their own failures, their own choices. They're looking at the version of themselves that took you for granted. And oh, how that image haunts them now. See, when you were there, your presence acted like a buffer. It softened the blow of their own shortcomings. You carried the emotional weight, smoothed over the cracks, made excuses for the behavior they didn't want to own. You held up a funhouse mirror, distorting the truth just enough so they could believe they were doing enough. But when you let go, that mirror shattered, and all that's left is a raw, unfiltered reflection. This is what psychologists call emotional contrast. When the emotional reality they experience now is so drastically different from what they were used to, it creates painful awareness. Before, they felt comfortable, even superior. But now, in the absence of your effort, your love, your care, they feel small, incomplete. That's the contrast, what they had versus what they lost. And nothing highlights that more than silence. It's funny, isn't it? They thought your absence would be easy. They told themselves, I'll move on fast. They'll be back. I'll find someone else. But now they're scrolling through your old photos, reading messages you wrote long ago, trying to feel that warmth again. Only now it's cold. Because your absence is colder than they ever expected. It isn't just space, it's a void that echoes back their own failures, and the questions that keep them up at night. Why did I let them go? Why didn't I do more? What if no one ever loves me like that again? Those questions are louder in the silence. That's the mirror working its magic. It shows them the real cost of taking you for granted. But here's the lie they believed. Out of sight, out of mind. They thought that if they could distract themselves long enough, they wouldn't feel it. They thought time would erase you. But time, my friends, it doesn't erase love like yours. It magnifies it. Because when the next person doesn't show up the way you did, when the effort feels forced, when the connection feels surface level, that's when the mirror hits hardest. They compare, they measure, and no one quite feels like you. Now they're sitting with the reflection of what they lost, the reflection of their own apathy. And the hardest part, they did it to themselves. They crafted this outcome by offering bare minimums, by coasting, by assuming you'd never leave. But you did, and now their regret is a shadow they can't shake. So, my friends, let's break that lie for good. Drop this in the comments right now. My absence is a mirror they can't escape. Say it loud, say it proud. Show yourself, show the world, because that's the truth. Your absence is powerful, your silence is reflection, and they are finally seeing what you saw all along. Stay with me, because next, we're diving into how they realized too late that you were the safe place they never appreciated. And trust me, that one stings the most. Number 4, they realized too late you were the safe place. We only miss the sun when it starts to snow. My friends, isn't that the truth? You see, they didn't recognize you as the safe place, not when you were there, steady and strong, holding space for them when they didn't even know how to hold it for themselves. They thought the warmth you brought, the peace you gave, the support you offered, it was just there, like air, like oxygen, unseen, unappreciated, expected. But now that you're gone, that's when they finally feel the cold. That's when they realize you weren't just a part of their life, you were the calm in their chaos. Imagine this. Picture a lighthouse standing tall on the edge of a rocky shore. Waves crash, storms howl, but that lighthouse stays lit, guiding ships safely through the darkest nights. You were that lighthouse. You didn't ask for applause. You didn't demand recognition. You just showed up. You stayed steady, but they didn't even look up to see the light. They were too busy chasing storms, seeking the thrill of the unknown, craving the excitement of what they thought was more. And now, as they drift further into their own storm, no guiding light in sight, they realize they left their safe place behind. They left the harbor that sheltered them, the arms that held them through their darkest nights. They didn't care when you let go, not at first. But now, regret is breaking them from the inside out. Because the world out there, it's colder, harsher, emptier than they ever expected. And the lighthouse, it's no longer there to guide them home. But here's the kicker. They thought peace was boring. They thought stability was too easy. They mistook the comfort you gave for complacency. You weren't loud, you weren't flashy, you didn't demand attention. But what they never understood, real love doesn't have to scream to be heard. Real love whispers, "I'm here." Real love feels like exhaling after holding your breath too long. It's not the fireworks, it's the warmth after the fire burns out. And now that warmth is gone. And let me tell you something about human nature. We don't appreciate peace until we've lived in chaos. We don't recognize stability until it's replaced with uncertainty. And that's where they are now, my friends. They're surrounded by people who offer chaos disguised as passion. People who show up half-heartedly, who love with conditions, who leave them feeling more empty than before. And suddenly the safe place they once rolled their eyes at, that feels priceless now. But you're not there anymore. And that's the sting, because they thought you'd always be available. They thought no matter how far they wandered, how long they disappeared, they could always come back. They thought you'd be waiting. But here's the truth. They mistook your patience for permanence. They thought your love was unconditional, no matter how many times they left you out in the cold. But you were never their doormat. You were their shelter. And when the shelter is gone, even the strongest start to feel the rain. Now here's where the mirror flips, folks, because you've outgrown the role they kept placing you in. You've learned the difference between being someone's safe place and someone's emotional safety net. You've realized that you can offer love, but you can't offer yourself up to be drained. And now they feel that absence like a wound that won't heal. And let's be clear, it's not that you stopped caring, it's that you started caring for yourself more. You stopped lighting the way for someone who didn't want to find their way home. And that's what they didn't see coming. They thought the lighthouse was just part of the landscape. But now that it's gone, now that the light is out, the sea feels darker than ever. Let's drop the truth right here, right now. Say it with me. Drop it in the comments. I was the safe place they didn't appreciate. Show yourself. Show the world. Own it. Because that's what you were. And now they know it too. But stay with me, my friends. Because next, we're diving into how regret becomes a silent storm that breaks them piece by piece. Oh, we're just getting started. Number 5. Regret is a silent storm. The worst storms are the ones you never see coming. They build in silence, then tear everything apart. And that's exactly what regret does, my friends. It doesn't roar at first. It doesn't announce its arrival like thunder. No, regret is quiet at first, a whisper, a shadow, but over time, it grows into a storm so loud it drowns out everything else. That's what they're feeling now, the regret they never expected, the storm they never prepared for, and it's breaking them piece by piece. You see, when you let go, they thought they'd move on without missing a beat. They told themselves, I'll be fine, they'll come back, or I'll find someone else. That's the lie they wrapped themselves in, like a blanket, comfortable, warm. But the truth? That lie started to unravel the moment your silence stayed longer than they thought it would. At first, the quiet felt like a pause, like you were catching your breath. But days turned into weeks, weeks into months. And now that silence is a storm inside them, a storm they can't escape. Imagine standing in the middle of a vast field, the sky darkening, clouds swirling overhead. At first it's just a breeze, barely noticeable, but then the air shifts, the pressure builds, and you know, a storm is coming. That's regret, my friends. It starts soft, a tug in their chest when they scroll past your picture, a flicker of memory when they hear your favorite song, but then it builds, it grows, until every quiet moment feels like thunder rolling through their soul. And here's what makes it worse. They don't talk about it. They won't admit it. Not to you, maybe not even to themselves. But it's there, when the distractions fade, when they're lying in bed at night, staring at the ceiling. That's when the storm rages the loudest. It crashes in waves. Why did I let them go? Why didn't I try harder? What if no one ever loves me like that again? Those questions become the lightning bolts that keep striking over and over until there's nothing left but the wreckage of what they lost. But let's talk about why this storm hit so hard. Because they thought time would heal it. They thought they could outrun the pain, distract themselves, fill the void with someone else. But here's the truth. They didn't just lose someone who cared. They lost the one person who made them feel safe, understood, accepted. And you can't replace that, my friends. You can't find that kind of love on every street corner. They told themselves the absence wouldn't hurt. I'll just find someone else. I'll be fine. But absence doesn't just create space. It creates reflection. It makes them see what they ignored when you were there. And now they're staring at the wreckage, realizing they held a rare gem in their hands and let it slip through their fingers. And the worst part? Regret doesn't give them closure. It leaves the door wide open, the storm raging. There's no neat ending here, no clean goodbye, just questions that don't have answers. Do they miss me? Would they take me back? Have they moved on? These thoughts circle like vultures in their mind, and they realize they may never know. That's what haunts them. not just losing you, but losing the chance to fix what they broke. Psychologists call this cognitive dissonance, the mental battle between what they believe about themselves and the reality they can't ignore. They see themselves as the one in control, the one who always had the upper hand. But your absence, it shattered that illusion. Now they're left with the uncomfortable truth. They were careless with something precious, and the storm of regret, it's breaking them from the inside out. So here's what I want you to do, right here, right now. Drop this in the comments. Their regret is the storm they never saw coming. Write it, feel it, own it, because that's the truth. You were their calm, their safe place, and now they're standing in the storm alone. But stay with me, folks, because we're not done yet. Next, we're diving into how they expected you to wait in the wings while you were out there healing, rising, becoming untouchable. Oh, this journey, it's just getting good. Number 6, they expected you to wait in the wings. You will never heal by going back to what broke you. Remember that, my friends, because this is where they miscalculated the most. They expected you to wait, to stand still, to pause your life like a movie on hold, just waiting for them to hit play again. They thought you'd sit quietly in the wings, watching their performance from the sidelines, waiting for your cue to come back on stage. But here's what they never understood. This wasn't their show to direct. Let's paint the scene. Imagine a grand theater. The lights are low, the audience is silent. You're standing in the wings, heart pounding, waiting for your moment. But the actor on stage, they're ad-libbing, ignoring the script, forgetting your lines. And you're waiting, hoping they'll stick to the plan, give you the moment you deserve. But time passes, the curtain never rises for you, and one day you realize this isn't your stage anymore. So you walk out the side door, into the sunlight, leaving behind the dim theater and the half-hearted story they were writing for you. That's what they never saw coming. They thought you'd be frozen in that role forever, that you'd wait for their call, their message, their apology. But while they were out there improvising, playing games, seeking applause from others, you were doing something far more powerful. You were healing, quietly, steadily. You were rewriting your script. You stopped waiting for their permission to step into the spotlight of your own life. And let me tell you something about waiting in the wings. At first, it feels safe, familiar. You tell yourself, maybe they just need time, maybe they'll come around. You stay close enough to hope, but far enough to hurt. But there's a moment, a turning point, where you realize you're waiting for someone who doesn't even know they're on stage with you. You realize you deserve more than stolen moments, more than half efforts, more than someone who expects you to stay stuck while they explore every option. And here's the lie they told themselves. They thought you were waiting because you couldn't move on. They mistook your silence for longing, your distance for hesitation. But the truth? Your silence was growth. Your distance was healing. You weren't waiting in the wings. You were building a whole new stage, one where you are the star, one where you decide the story. And now they're looking around, realizing the stage is empty, and they're performing for an audience that no longer cares. The regret hits hard when they realize you're no longer where they left you. They scroll through your social media, looking for signs that you're still stuck, still waiting, still hurting. But instead, they see you living, smiling, thriving, maybe quietly, maybe without fanfare, but you're moving forward. And that's the part they can't handle, because while they thought time stood still for you, you were using every second to grow. You were learning to love yourself again, to rebuild the parts of you they chipped away. And now you're untouchable in a way they never expected, because the person you've become, That version of you doesn't wait in the wings for anyone. Psychologically, this is called emotional detachment, when you finally separate your worth from their actions, when their choices no longer hold you hostage. And here's what's wild. They feel it. They sense it. They might not know the words for it, but they feel the shift in the energy. They feel that you're no longer waiting, and that's what terrifies them, because in their mind, you were always the fallback, the safety net, the guaranteed option. But here's the truth that breaks that lie apart. You were never a backup plan. You were the main event. And now, they've lost their seat at the table. They expected you to wait in the wings, but you took center stage in your own life. Let's stamp that truth in stone. Drop this in the comments right now. I was never waiting. I was healing. Say it loud. Say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world around you that you've stepped into your own light. And stay with me, my friends. Because next, we're diving into how your growth became their punishment. How the person you've become is the one thing they can't reach anymore. Number 7. Your growth became their punishment. The greatest revenge is massive success. And oh, my friends, doesn't that truth hit like a freight train? See, they thought losing you would break you down. They thought the pain would keep you small, stuck, shattered beneath the weight of what they did. They thought you'd stay in the same place, carrying the wounds, dragging the chains of heartbreak behind you. But what they never anticipated, what they never saw coming, was that your growth would become their punishment, that you wouldn't just survive, you'd evolve. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a tree struck by lightning. The bark is scorched, the branches splintered. To anyone passing by, it looks like the end, but deep beneath the surface, the roots are still alive. And over time, that tree doesn't just grow back, it grows taller, stronger, more resilient than before. And that's you. They thought they could strike you down, thought the hurt would hollow you out. But you used the pain as your soil. You turned the ashes into nourishment. And now you're towering, blooming, reaching heights they can't even touch. And here's the beautiful irony, folks. They're watching, maybe from afar, maybe through a screen, maybe through the whispers of mutual friends. But they see it. They see the glow-up they didn't believe was possible. And every step you take forward, every smile that reaches your eyes again, every dream you chase without them, that's the punishment they never prepared for. See, they expected you to stay stuck in the role they left you in, the broken one, the one crying at night, replaying every conversation, wondering what you could have done differently. But you flipped the script. You realized your healing wasn't about getting them back. It was about getting yourself back. You stopped waiting for closure from someone who couldn't even offer accountability. You stopped needing their validation. You became the person they didn't recognize anymore. And that's what stings the most. Because here's the truth. Your growth makes them face their own stagnation. Every time they see you rising, they're reminded of where they stayed the same. While you were building, they were coasting. While you were healing, they were hiding. While you were finding yourself, they were losing the very thing that made them feel grounded, you. And now they can't reach you. Not because you're hiding, but because you've elevated. And that elevation, it's a language they no longer speak. They don't know how to approach someone who no longer accepts crumbs, someone who no longer settles for half efforts, someone who doesn't flinch at silence but thrives in it. That's what breaks them. They're out there searching, chasing, trying to fill the void. But the people they meet, they don't offer the depth, the warmth, the strength you did. And the more they search, the more they realize they lost a rare soul, a soul that outgrew the pain they left you in. But here's the thing, my friends. Your growth wasn't about revenge. It was about rebirth. It was about looking at the broken pieces of yourself and saying, I'm building something stronger this time. You didn't heal out of spite. You healed out of necessity, because the old you, the one who tolerated less, accepted less, believed in potential over patterns, that version of you, you buried them. And from that burial came someone unshakable. And now they're haunted by the memory of who you used to be, because the person standing in your place today, they can't access that person anymore. They can't reach the version of you who would have answered the late-night calls, who would have accepted the half-hearted apologies, who would have stayed hoping they'd change. You outgrew the story they wrote for you, and now they're left flipping through old pages, trying to rewrite an ending that no longer exists. Let's lock that truth in. Drop this in the comments right now. I outgrew the pain they left me in. Say it loud, say it proud. Show yourself. Show the world that you turned heartbreak into healing, pain into power. As we wrap this up, my friends, remember this. Letting go wasn't the end of your story. It was the beginning of your rise. They didn't care when you let go, but now, regret is their storm to weather. You chose peace over chaos, growth over stagnation, and that choice, that's your power. If this message stirred something deep inside you, drop a comment below. I choose peace, not pain. Let the world know. And don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs this truth, and subscribe for more healing, empowerment, and unstoppable growth.